Hi everyone, welcome to NLP Metaprograms episode 14, Work Preference Filter. I thought I'd give you a different perspective on where the performance partnership operates from these days. So this is our wall of thanks or a wall of gratitude, some of the cards that we've had over the years from people who've attended our programs, and I just love that kind of really tangible feedback from people. That's my Master Trainer certificate there from 1996, still real ingrained in my brain, a time of, I was very proud and also a big surprise because I wasn't expecting to be made a Master Trainer. So this is where we are, this is where we come from. So NLP Metaprograms episode 14, Work Preference Filter. Last week, just as a bit of a recap, we had the work affiliation filter, and the question was, tell me about a time in your work where you were the happiest, a one-time event, a specific event. Do you remember that? And what we were filtering their answer for was whether the person was an independent player, as in their happiest time was when they were working completely by themselves, whether they were a team player, as in they were part of a team, though it didn't matter or not whether they were the manager or the leader of that team. And then the other was the management player, where it was in a team and it wouldn't have been their happiest time if they hadn't have been the leader or the manager of that team. So the work preference filter, it's the same question. Tell me about a time in your work where you were happy, absolute happiest, a one-time specific event. So it's the same question. So you might not necessarily need to ask that question twice, because you might get the answer to both metaprograms in one shot. Yeah. So let's have a look at what we're listening for here from the work preference filter. Well, we've got three categories here. It's things, systems, and people. So let's relate these two first, things and systems. Think about that in relationship to the hierarchy of ideas. Systems are abstract, big picture, whereas things are very detailed and specific. So if they're talking about very detailed, specific things that they were doing, particularly if it was physical things, then they would fall into this category here. If they're talking more big picture, abstract systems around what they were doing, then they're more systems. If they're talking about the people involved, maybe they mention people's names. Well, you know, there was Bill, he was this, and there was Bob, and there was Brenda, and all those kind of things, then they're going to be people. If they're talking, let's say, nuts and bolts, if they're talking about building things, if they're talking about, you know, very manual kind of stuff, even if it's not physical, like it could be virtual these days, but if they are talking about programming, getting into the detail of what is going on, then they be things. If they're talking about the architecture of a system, if they were talking about the architecture, the design of a virtual system, like for instance, if they're talking about the design of the overall funnel, let's say, in ClickFunnels, rather than actually really enjoying building a funnel, then this is where we've got like systems and things. So again, it's a metaprogram, which is pretty much honed into the business, the career side of things, though it's important information for us to have when we're recruiting a person to a company, when we are building a team and we've got particular roles and tasks that need to be done within that particular team, or when we're managing a particular team. Again, this is where the metaprograms score in business. If we know what someone's metaprograms are, and we put them into a role, a position, function within that business, which fits with their metaprograms, they're going to be happy, they're going to be fulfilled, they're going to find it very, very easy to do what they do. If we put them into a role that doesn't fit with their metaprograms, then they're going to find it challenging. They're going to find it difficult. They're not going to enjoy it. And ultimately, where people will perform their best is when they're doing something, when they're in a position, when they're in a role where they're happy, they find what they're doing rewarding and fulfilling, and they find it easy. Because then not only do they have those three things, but also for us as the employer, then they create the big results. And they'll do it because they enjoy it. Yes, of course, they're still going to want to be paid. That's one of their values. And they're going to create big results. They're going to be fulfilled. They're going to be happy. We're going to have more longevity in the role and all those kind of things. So again, very, very business focused. And it's a short Facebook Live tonight because it's quite a simple meta program. Next week, though, with what will be episode 15, is the chunk size filter. Again, now we're going over to the person's entire life. This meta program tends to generalize over every single area of the person's life, and it's a real big one. It's a real important one. So please join me for that one, NLP Metaprograms episode 15, which will be live on Thursday at 1900 BST, which is 1800 UTC, depending where you are in the world. So it could be going live for you in the evening, the morning, the next day even. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week for episode 15. Thanks very much.